Welcome to Anything Maths. If you find this video, by all means give it a thumb up. The video is all about solving past questions on the topic indices. Let's get started. Now, before we go through these questions, I want to make some few remarks. First of all, if you've not watched the videos on laws of indices, I suggest that you watch those two videos because they are really important if you are to understand what we are going to do in this video. The second point is, on each question, I want you to pause the video, take piece of paper and pen or pencil, and try to solve the question. Then, having solved the question, play the video and check your answer. If you are able to do so, you enhance your understanding of the topic. I hope you're going to do that. Let's solve question number 1. Simplify. We can see that they all have the same base x. So we're going to add the powers. So x raised to the power 8 plus 3 is going to be x raised to the power 11. You can write your answer here if it is exams, but I'm not going to write the answer in that column because it's going to waste time. B. Simplify. If we want to simplify, we need to get rid of the bracket, and the power 3 is going to affect everything in the bracket. So we're going to have 5 raised to the power 3, y raised to the power 3. We want to evaluate 5 raised to the power 3. It's going to be 125, y raised to the power 3. C. Simplify. We can write this as w raised to the power 7 divided by w raised to the power 4. And it can also be w raised to the power 7 minus 4. We're going to have w raised to the power 3. It says simplify. You check the base, they are all the same. So a raised to the power 9 plus 4, because it's a multiplication. A raised to the power 13. Simplify. We want to get rid of this bracket, and everything is going to be affected by the power 3. So 4 raised to the power 3, b raised to the power 2 times 3, and c raised to the power 3. It's going to be 64 raised to the power 64 times b raised to the power 6, and c raised to the power 3. The d is the base division, so we subtract 9 minus 4. You're going to get d raised to the power 5. 3 is a bit tricky. We have numbers, so we multiply the numbers for 2 and 5 will give us 10. Get 10. The indices are of different bases, so you can't apply the rule. You just maintain them as they are because it is multiplication. Get m squared n raised to the power 6. The second is 15 divided by 3, and that will give us 5. We have p raised to the power 3 divided by p raised to the power 4, so you're going to be p3 minus 4, and we're going to have p 5 times p raised to the minus 1, and this is the same as 5 over p. Okay, so this is correct, and the last one too is the correct answer. Okay, question 4. Getting rid of the bracket is going to be 3 times 4, which is t raised to the power 12. 12 divided by 3, we're going to get 4. Then we have m squared divided by m, so you're going to get m. Then we have n raised to the power 6 divided by n raised to the power 4, so n6 minus 4. So eventually you're going to get 4m n squared. Number 5, we multiply the 5 and the 3, we get 15 m squared times m, so we're going to get m cubed, n raised to the power 3 times n raised to the power 4, is going to be n 3 plus 4, is going to be 15 m cubed and 7. Please, when you are working, don't rush. Take your time, because I don't want you to make mistakes. If you can do the work, by all means try to reduce mistakes, and you can only do so by taking your time, not rushing. Number 6 is write down the value of. This is so important. It says the value of. Okay, what does it mean? We know that this can be written as 5 raised to the power 3, and it's correct, but because the value of, it means you have to evaluate this. Evaluate what 5 raised to the power 3 is, and it's 125. So because the max is 1, if you wrote 1 over 5 raised to the power 3, you're not going to get it max. Okay, so be careful. If you watch the laws of indices, you know that anything raised to the power 0 is 1. So this answer is 1. Another value of, and we can see they all have different bases, so we can't really apply any rule. We find the value of this, and we find the value of that, and we multiply it. And 5 raised to the power 2 is 25, isn't it? Times 2 raised to the power 3 is 8. And when you multiply, you're going to get 200. Write down the value of 2 raised to the power negative 3 is the same as 1 over 2 raised to the power 3, which is the same as 1 over 8. Number 9, I want you to pay attention to these particular questions, because it says y raised to the power 2 times y raised to the power a is equal to y raised to the power 7. We apply our indices, we're going to get y raised to the power 2 plus a should be equal to y raised to the power 7. So if these are supposed to be equal, what do you think the value of a will be? It means 2 plus a should be equal to 7, and therefore a should be equal to 5. Nice and easy. The B is also interesting. We have y raised to the power 4 all raised to the power b. We apply the law of indices. We can write it this way. We can write it as y raised to the power 4b, and we can say it is the same as y raised to the power 12. Because they all have the same base and they are equal to each other, it means the powers should also be the same for the equality to hold. Do you understand it? And as a result, we can say 4b is equal to 12. And therefore, b is 3. Okay. These sort of questions are really interesting. And sometimes when they give you much more difficult ones, and you get more marks for it. So please make sure you understand how you can solve it. Number 10. What you are going to do, look at the left hand side. We have x raised to the power 6 divided by x raised to the power a. So we can write it as x raised to the power 6 minus a according to the law, second law. And we can say it is the same as x raised to the power 8 because that's what you've been given. If x, they all have the same base, it means the powers should also be equal to each other. So we can say 6a should be equal to 8. Okay, 6a should be equal to 8. Now a should be equal to 6 minus 8, which will give you negative 2. The b, simplify. We want to get rid of the bracket. So 4, the power 4 is going to affect everything. So we can write 2 raised to the power 4 and 2 times 4. Now 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 times 2 is 16. So we're going to have 16 m raised to the power 8. So I always want you to pay attention to the requirement of the question. We are supposed to write this as a power of 3. Okay, power of 3. If you don't do it that way, you're not going to get all the marks. So how do we solve this? We look at the numerator. The numerator, they all have the base, so we can add them. 3, 4 by plus 5, all divided by 3 raised to the power 2. Now, it's going to be 3 raised to the power 9 divided by 3 raised to the power 2. Then applying the law, we're going to get 3 raised to the power 9 minus 2. That will give you 3 raised to the power 7. In the power of 3. Okay, so we don't have to use the calculator to find the value. That is what they want you. They want you to leave your answer in the power form. However, here they are telling you to write down the value of 3 raised to the power negative 3. And this we know is going to be 3 raised to the power 3. And this will be 27. Any number raised to the power 0 is 1. I hope you are doing well. You'll be pausing the video. You'll be doing the working out and comparing your answers. Please do that. P raised to the power 8. You add the powers. Now you've learned how to walk, therefore you can run. If you see you can be able to do it, just do it and write the answer, because this is just only 1 mark. They're not going to give you a method mark. The B part, they've got 2 marks for it, so method mark. So make sure you show working. So the 4, 3 raised to the power 3, a 4 raised to the power 3, and we're going to have A raised to the power 3. Then we have B raised to the power 2 times 3. 4 times 4 is 16. 16 times 4 is 64. Then we got A raised to the power 3. Then we got B raised to the power 6. The next one, we have 16 divided by 4. That will give us 4, isn't it? So we get 4 here. And then we have M raised to the power 7 divided by M raised to the power 3. So 7 minus 3 will give you 4. So M raised to the power 4. And we have N raised to the power 3 divided by N, which is a power 1. So it's going to be N raised to the power 2. Okay. This question is interesting. When we look at the left-hand side, the base is 1000. But we will be able to write 1000 as a base of 10. How can we do that? If you don't know how to do it, even you can use that. So we have 1000. 10 goes into 1000 100 times, and 100 goes into 10 goes into 110 times. The reason why I'm using 100 tens is the fact that I want to make the base also 10. So it means 1000 also can be written as what? 10 raised to the power 3. Okay. So once you are able to write that, you can say 10 raised to the power 3 is the same as 10 raised to the power x. Now, if they all have the same base, it means 3 should also be equal to x. So the value of x now is 3. Okay, so this is quite interesting. I hope you get the understanding of how to solve it. Simplify, we multiply the 9 by the 2, we get 18. So you're going to be 18. And then p raised to the power 3 times p raised to the power minus 2. 3 minus 2 is going to be 3 minus 2, because let me write it carefully for you to know what is happening. It's going to be 3 plus minus 2, which is the same as 18p 3 minus 2, which is the same as 18p. Okay. Simplify this. You're going to get 5 raised to the power 3 x raised to the power 3 times 3, and then we have y raised to the power 2 times 3. If you simplify this, you're going to get 125 x raised to the power 9, then we got y raised to the power 6. The next one, we're supposed to find the value of y. So the best thing is to try to simplify the left-hand side and the right-hand side. That will help you to do that. So if you simplify the left-hand side, it's going to be p raised to the power 3 plus 5, which is p raised to the power 8. And the right-hand side will be p raised to the power 12 plus y. Okay. Now, if p is equal to p here, then we can say 8 is also equal to that plus y. And therefore, y should be equal to 8 minus 12. And that will give us, do you know the answer? Minus 4. This also looks simple, but it's not that simple. Now, we can see that we don't have any base here. But with our knowledge that anything raised to the power 0 is 1, we can confidently write 10 raised to the power x should be equal to 10 raised to the power 0. And we know that once you are able to write it that way, we can connect the 10 is equal to the 10, and therefore x should be equal to 0. Now be careful. So write this as a power of 5. And these 5 raised to the power 4 times 5. The 5 is raised to the power 1. So you add 4 plus 1, and you're going to get 5 raised to the power 5. A reciprocal of something is 1 over, or raise it to the power negative 1. And therefore, if we want to find the reciprocal of 2, we can say 2 raised to the power negative 1, which is the same as 1 over 2. So the reciprocal of 2 is 1 over 2. It says simplify. And we work the numbers first. So 5 times 2 is 10. We have c only, so we write that c squared. We have d raised to the power 3 times d. And any number standing alone is power 1. So 3 plus 1 is 4. So d raised to the power 4. We've got another classic question. Write down this as a power of 4. Now 64 is not written as a power of 4. So just like we did, they've given us a hint. So you do your tree. You put 4 goes into 64 how many times? Do you know? 16 times. And then 4 goes into 16 4 times. So what it means is we can write 64 4 raised to the power 3. Remember, this is not prime factorization, but we use that idea because they are saying it's a power of 4. That's why we just use only 4. So don't confuse this method with prime factorization. And as a result, this actually becomes 4 raised to the power 3 times 4 raised to the power 5. And you're going to get 4 raised to the power 3 plus 5. And that gives you 4 raised to the power 8. It's a leave your answer in the power of 4. So you don't have to find the value. The next one says simplify this. We do the one in the bracket first. So it's going to be 3 raised to the power 3 times p raised to the power 5 times 2, which is the same as p raised to the power 3 times p raised to the power 10. And that will give us p raised to the power 3 plus 10. You get p raised to the power 13. Okay? Please don't rush. Okay? If you rush, you make mistakes and you don't get the full marks. We are supposed to find x. So all that we can do is to look at the left-hand side. The left-hand side we can say is p raised to the power 14 should be equal to p raised to the power x. And therefore, x is 14. So write down the reciprocal of this. So we raise the whole thing to a power of -1. If you've gone through the law of indices, you know that this can be written as that -1, +1, which is the same as 3. So that's why I'm saying you have to look. We come to the last question. Now, you got to be very careful. Here, the common factor between 10 and 4 is 2. So we end up getting 5/2 here. And we have p raised to the power 3 divided by p raised to the power 3. So they will cancel out. And you have q raised to the power 5 and divided by q raised to the power 6. So we can say is q 5 minus 6. And we don't have r. So what you're going to get is q raised to the power -1 r all over 2, which is the same as 5r all over 2q. Okay. So this brings an end to going through the solutions, the past questions. I'm going to make another video about past questions. So there's going to be part 2 as well. The point is solving questions is what can make you a good student. Having the principle in your head and not solving questions will not help you. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumb up and please do subscribe.